welcome back to the Youngstown Click Be Connected podcast. I am so excited to have you guys here today. And you're going to notice that our setup is a little different because we have a panel today, which is really cool. And I hope you guys like that song in the intro because that song ties into what we are talking about today. We have the people who put it together, that authored it, that wrote it, and it's all going for a good cause. So if you like it, you could buy it. And know not only are you getting a good music soundtrack, but you're also supporting our local a local cause. I don't want to give it away quite yet. So let's introduce our guests today. I'm going to let them kind of go around and introduce themselves, give a little bit about your resume, what you do, and this talk is going to be so good, guys. We have so many different opinions, so many different backgrounds, and we're all going to weigh in on something that is more relevant now going into the cold weather than so many other times of the year. So let's get started with Jerry V. Jerry V is a good friend of mine, and he's the one who kind of put all these this panel together. So go ahead, Jerry V.
Hey, I'm Jerry B.
Listen, there's still some people who don't know you. So can you talk to us about you're a musician?
Yeah,
and
I'm a musician, producer. Been here
drummer.
in Youngstown all my life. Drummer with Sound Doctrine, and Sound Doctrine is still doing their thing, and just love to make music, love to glorify God, and that's it. Yeah,
that's it.
Jerry.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But you write music as well.
Write music.
You produce music. You have a show on Armstrong.
So that show has been discontinued for a season, but it was Artist Impact. So just love working with musicians all around the world. I'm grateful to be able to do it.
Yes.
Sometimes in my pajamas.
Yeah. Right. Well, I've watched a couple of your Artist Impact things, and it is really cool to see people weigh in from Trinidad, from all over, from down south, from all over the place, and they're all talking to each other, all kind of giving opinions and critiques on people's music and stuff. Very cool thing. So we'll get back to how people could follow that and follow you. But let's go to Lynn here. Lynn, go ahead and introduce yourself.
So I'm Lynn Wyant, and I am with the Rescue Mission of the Mahoning Valley. So I kind of gave away your secret.
Yes, there you are. Yes. Okay.
I'm here today, but I'm really thankful to be part of this ministry. I've personally been around for a little over 19 years, so I've seen quite a bit in the valley when it comes to the need to take care of our neighbors who are struggling with homelessness and hunger. And I'm just really excited that Jerry B kind of put this together and introduced us to Lisa and Kyle and plugged you in. And he's a connector, and I'm just really thankful.
He definitely is a connector
around this community that make things work. And that's how the mission operates. We are 100% funded by the community and don't receive any government funds. So things like this really mean a lot to us, and we're just really thankful to be sitting at the table today.
That's amazing. Amazing. Thank you for being here. And I have so many questions too regarding homelessness and what that looks like. A lot of times it's not as visible as we see, like somebody hanging out on a street corner. It's deeper than that. So I look forward to hearing some of your stories. Kyle. All right, Kyle, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. So my name's Kyle Kostel. I'm a Christian recording artist. My artist name is Hegemon.
Hegemon. Okay.
Yeah. So I am primarily a vocalist, but I rap and I sing, and I just try to put out music that's authentic, that's true to myself, and that really captures the life of a Christian.
Yeah.
Maybe outside of the church. What's your life like?
Right.
Not on a Sunday when you're in church in the gathering, but when you're just going through regular life, when you're dealing with different struggles or all kinds of stuff like that. So I just try to be true to myself and put out music that glorifies God and reaches a wide audience.
That's amazing. Yeah. Amazing. So rapping is probably somewhat therapeutic, right? If you're angry, you could rap or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you're happy, you could rap, and you could have these little, a lot of motivational things have a certain rhythm and a cadence. So that's really cool. That's a cool talent that I can't wait to hear. Why Hegemon, real quick?
Yeah. So Hegemon is ancient Greek. And it means leader, but it's also in the Bible, and it translates to governor, and it's actually referring to Pontius Pilate.
Really?
Yeah, the governor of Judea.
Oh, what? Okay. All right. So now you guys learned something. We're done. No kidding. All right, Lisa, what about you?
Hi, I'm Lisa McDavid. Born and raised in Youngstown, but I live in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And so I commute back and forth. I am a singer, songwriter, vocalist, vocal trainer. I'm in about 6 bands here in Fort Wayne. I've known Jerry since I was about 22 years old, and I'm 56, so that I'm telling our age.
Nice.
So I used to do a lot of musical theater at the Youngstown Playhouse in the late 80s and early 90s. I've been in Fort Wayne 30 years. And I'm the minister of music at my church, Faith United Methodist Church. And I'll wait for the questions because I have a lot to say about this.
Okay. Yeah. And the cool, relevant thing and why Lisa is joining us today is because she actually, the song that you guys heard and you hear the vocals, that's Lisa. Right. So I look forward to, and it was actually your idea. So after we introduce, then I'll get into it. Okay. So, all right. And then we have a very special organization that a lot of people know about.
Yeah, we're I'm Patty Summers from the Youngstown Bluecoats. We're a nonprofit that works in the winter, and we go out searching for people wherever they are, in the woods, under bridges. We don't go into abandoned buildings, but we do travel 6 counties in Pennsylvania and 7 in Ohio.
Wow.
And we have a bus that we take around, and that's our distribution center. And we make sure that in America nobody freezes to death. And we are an all-volunteer organization.
Wow.
So any funding that we get, which is no government funding.
Really?
No.
Wow. So the Bluecoats is national or international?
Local. Yeah.
Oh.
So I did start in 2016 or 2012 with an organization out of Paynesville.
Okay.
And I did one coat drive a year, and they would come in and we would work it out. And then in 2016, I filed for our 501c3 status. And we got that.
So what's the official name? It is the Bluecoats.
It is the Youngstown Bluecoats.
Youngstown Bluecoats.
And we're based in Hubbard.
What? So you started it?
Yes, I'm the founder.
What? I see. I'm just finding this out, guys. See, this is all about connection. Now you know. That's amazing. Okay. I was going to say, if it was an international organization, they could probably use a spot on Mount Everest. You see, like you hear all these stories about people like they're just find people frozen.
Yeah.
Which does not need to happen here, obviously, and that's so beautiful. Yeah. That you do.
We've caught a couple people that were close to that, and ended up getting them some medical assistance. But
wow.
And that was in Youngstown. So, yeah.
Wow.
I have a friend. He has something called Helping Hands Ministry, and we started it out of our church. And he was once homeless, but that's his ministry. He goes around on his moped. He knows where all the little cubby holes and woods and things like that. And so he's actually taught me how to spot people.
Right. Wow.
And we just had a meeting today about coats as well. So,
talk about.
So we have. This ties in so much to what Jerry and I
are doing.
Have been doing that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just man, I got so much to say, but I don't want to say it now.
Right. This is so great. Okay. So here's what's going on, guys. So these people have all collaborated in some way to help the homeless people or the struggling on the verge of homeless people in our region. And even though Lisa is out of state, she has collaborated. So they made this song, which we will play for you guys, the whole thing. But they made the song. When you download it, then it actually goes to the rescue mission, right?
It goes to the rescue mission. If they download it from the rescue mission site, it goes to Youngstown Bluecoats. If you download it from Youngstown Bluecoats site, 80% of all proceeds of whatever your donation is. So I think we put a minimum of like $1.98, but we're asking for you to be generous, and whatever your generosity is, then 80% will go wherever you find it. If you're at the Youngstown Bluecoats site, or if you're at the Rescue Mission of Mahoning Valley site, then you have the opportunity. And here's another opportunity: go to both of them.
Yeah, and get it both, right? Right.
Right with that.
Yeah, or just make a donation. There you go.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I want to ask you guys how who came up with this idea, because most people when they make music, the intention is to make money. Yeah. Right? So you guys have done all the work, collaborated, written the song, put your heart and soul into it, and then you're pretty much giving all the money away. Yeah. So I want to talk to you about how this came to be, why that is important to you. But first, I have a question. Has anybody here had been close to or have experienced homelessness at any time?
Well, I was very close to homelessness with the grace of my mom, who said, "Where you're going to sleep out in that front room," is what she called it. And she had to exercise. I was 28 at the time, exercise some tough love because decisions I had made before Christ, which I burned a lot of bridges. Okay. And she said, in her words exactly, Patty, where I don't want you under the Market Street Bridge, which is where at that time, and this is early 90s, where mostly people slept in the winter. And so if it wasn't for her and that old couch where I met the Lord, on her in her front room, as she called it. Wow. So that's personal to me, and when we put Sound Doctrine together in 2001, 2002, one of the first things that we did, we played first night Youngstown. And we said, well, we want to be able to give back to the community. So we asked people who were buying tickets for our particular show to bring non-perishable items. And that's where, at the time, I met Jim Eschman, I think. And so we just began this partnership with the rescue mission that has lasted for all these years.
Wow, all these years. So this is not a new thing. This is the song is new, but the heart in the mission is not new.
And every time we would go on the road, when we would travel, we would find a charity there, and we would duplicate that whatever city we were in. Okay. So it just became a part of what Sound Doctrine did.
Amazing. Yeah. Okay, so has anybody else experienced any kind of...
I had a little bit of a hiccup in 2023 with my husband. We lived in Columbiana in a home. He started a home improvement project, knocked into some walls, and it caused him to have anaphylactic reactions that caused us not to be able to be in our house anymore.
Oh,
and
my.
So we couldn't really figure out what was going on, if it was him, if it was the house. We had it detected for mold. Nothing came back.
Yeah.
There was a problem with the house. Thankfully, he's healthy now, but we had to leave our house. And so for about 6 weeks, we bounced from family to family. And the thing that made us different was we had that safety net of his parents that had us stay for a week, and then my parents that had us stay for a week until we could figure out, at the time we had another place we could go and, get another housing situation. Right. But it took 6 weeks to get there. And so we were in 4 different places over those 6 weeks without our stuff. And, we ended up giving away everything and starting over because we weren't sure what was making him sick. And he would sort of have those anaphylactic reactions just from touching clothing that had been in the house or sitting on the couch that had been in the house. So we just decided, okay, we're just going to start over.
Wow.
So it gave me a heart for what the clients go through because, that's nothing compared to months or years of homelessness or having to actually come to the shelter or, living under a bridge. But, if we hadn't had the safety net, you can only stay in a hotel for so long.
Right,
You can only, exhaust your friends for so long.
Yeah.
Things like that happen. So I think that's maybe the way the Lord gave me even just a bigger heart for what goes on here at the mission. It's certainly not a horrific story of catastrophe like a lot of the clients that we see here went through, but it was enough to just touch me and my husband and say, okay, thank you, Lord. We know who's in control, and we trust you to take care of us. And just through that time, seeing how he carried us.
Wow,
so
that's
cool. Looking back now, it's cool. It wasn't cool.
Right. That's
So we had to get, sell the house. It was fine for someone else to live there. It just wasn't fine for
him.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
He was allergic to the house by the time we were done. It was the weirdest.
Yeah,
thing.
that
He
is.
was allergic to me for a few minutes.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Oh man, that's funny. Wow, that's crazy. So, obviously, there is the when we think of homelessness, we think of people living on the street. There's a lot of addicts, a lot of people whose choices, like Jerry B said, who put them out, it puts them out and they choose to kind of walk that road rather than being in any, another situation. And I want to talk a little bit about that, but I do know, like, I guess what I want to know is, let's just say somebody was homeless, like all of a sudden I couldn't pay my rent, mortgage, whatever, and I was homeless. What does that look like? So when you guys experience, like, you go looking for people that need help, you experience it every day. You've kind of been in this road, and I know Lisa has helped a lot of people in Indiana. So what would that look like? What would I do?
If you were here in Youngstown, the first thing to do would be to call the mission and talk to one of our offices and talk to a client advisor. So men would call we have a men's department that would call for men, and then we have a women's department that takes care of full families as well. So if you're a mom with kids, if you're a dad with kids, if you're a married couple with kids, if you're,
Oh, so all the different systems and programs.
Yep, we can take care. And so we would do a pre-screening on the phone. If we have space, we'd invite you in, we'd do an intake, and we'd say, what do you need? Can we pray for you? If you're hungry, we'll get you food. If you need some clean clothing, we'll make that happen. We guide people to get a shower real quick. Sometimes it's been a while.
Absolutely.
Try to make them feel safe and secure. And realize that they've landed in a safe place.
Wow.
And, just address the immediate needs. And that's what funding from the community and people like Lisa and Jerry and Kyle here have done over the years. Since 1893, we've been able to keep these doors open because of the generosity of the public and be able to greet people.
Since 1893.
Yeah.
Goodness.
1893.
Wow.
Long time.
So
That's
mine
amazing.
has only been 2017.
But still.
But we do.
Still great.
Pardon me? Oh, so,
I said that's still great.
oh yeah.
Right.
It is. So we work with agencies.
Okay.
We come and we serve the community here at the mission. We travel all around Youngstown. We travel around Youngstown first when we start our distribution season, which starts December 1st. But we find a lot of people that we always have a guide with us from any particular agency that wants to come out with us. So if they know, and they work directly with the people who are on the streets. So we take them with us, and they let people know that we're coming out, and meet us at a certain place, or if they can't get somewhere, we'll come to you. And then we walk through woods at night. We walk through down near the river, and we walk, wherever the people are at. We make sure that with having a guide, immediate needs can be met. We provide like winter gear, so outerwear basically is what we provide, and we make sure that they're warm because our motto being in America, nobody should freeze to death.
Right.
We want to make sure that they don't freeze before they can get the help that they need.
Wow.
And there's multiple, I'd probably say hundreds of reasons why people are out.
Okay, yeah. So I wanted to touch on that. So a friend of mine, and then I want to know how Kyle comes into play here. So, but a friend of mine, he lived a life, he was a working addict at first, and then got to a point where he finally lost his job after, I think, 7 years of being a working addict. And then, this and that, and this person would get fed up with him and kick him off the couch. And he ended up living in a tent down by the river. And there were certain organizations that would come and pray with him or give him a blanket, he remembers. And they would try to talk him out of being homeless. And he would be like, no, just leave me alone. Like he said, he was cold and miserable, but wanted to be alone down by the river in his little tent, right? Because it meant that there was nobody to watch over, nobody to tell him what to do and that type of thing. So, and it doesn't make sense to him now, but he does talk about people who actually came and gave him blankets and gave him things, so it leads to the discussion about homelessness because, and you guys I could look in, if I've basically heard stories, obviously interacted with people in Pensacola where my sister lives. There's a lot of homeless because it's nice weather and it's kind of like it's like a whole community, right? And it's hard to see them as needy because they have this whole, the whole panhandling system and so it's kind of easy to be like, okay, live and let live. That's their choice. and that type of thing. And then winter hits, and you're kind of like, "Ooh, that would suck to even be sitting at a bus stop, let alone being out there permanently." But then you have the times when homeless people come, and then it's left trashy, it's left worse off, it's unsafe. We just had on the north side a guy robbed a guy in a wheelchair. So you have all these different situations. Talk to us about, because it feels good to help. And it feels good to feel good because you're helping. But talk to us about some of the real needs and some of the complications that comes with, have you guys ever been disheartened helping? And then what gets you through that? And then we're coming to you, Kyle. And real quick, let's come to you right now.
Okay.
Or do you have, I know you were part of this music project. Mm-hmm. Okay, why did you step in on it? And then secondly, do you have any like personal firsthand, knowledge of this situation, of this?
Yeah.
topic?
So I stepped in through Jerry, and he kind of reached out to me, and I didn't know too much about the mission of this project.
Okay.
It was more, they were looking for an artist to write a verse on the song. And so really Jerry just sent me the track, and I knew Lisa, and Jerry through Entree Musician. So from other music projects. So I just remember hearing the song, and then that's how I ended up writing my verse. And it was just Lisa's lyrics that inspired me to kind of write what I was writing.
Okay.
So that's really how I came onto this project. And as far as with, relating to homelessness, about 5 years ago, I did a street performance tour, and it was the first time I ever went on tour. And I went with one of my best friends, and we packed up my truck, and we had like sound equipment and stuff, and we just traveled the country for like 2 months.
Come on, that sounds fun.
Yeah, and it was at a time where, we were still kind of, reopening society from COVID and everything that had been going on. So there weren't many opportunities to perform indoors, but God put it on my heart so strongly to get out there, get the music out there. So we just went to the streets. We performed in the parks, and
wow.
At night we just slept in the bed of the truck. We were sleeping in parking lots and not very safe environments. It was a lot of sleeping with one eye open.
Wow.
But when you talked about Pensacola, Florida, we ended in Florida, and we were in the Tampa area, and I performed on this stage, and it looked like no one was there. It looked like you couldn't see anybody.
Right.
And I would ask God, I'm like, do you really want me here right now? Like, who am I performing for? Am I performing for the people on the boats that you can see off the shore? The music was loud, so there's a chance they heard it. But at the end of that performance, a guy came out of the woods. There was like a little wooded section. He came up to the front of the stage, and I had no idea he was even there. And he came up to the front, and he said, "I heard every word you said." And he said it touched him, and then he started explaining that he was homeless. And he explained his struggles with me, and it was like, it was the first moment where I was like, I understand.
Wow.
I know what you're going. I know what it's like to feel how you feel with just like, it's not safe. You're not, you know what I mean? And it was an eye-opening experience for me more than, my other, interactions with homeless. And I've always had a heart for them, and just working on, I used to work at the car wash on Midlothian Boulevard, so you meet people out there, people
absolutely.
that are down on their luck. And, so my heart's definitely for the people, for sure. And I'm just blessed and honored that I got brought into this, because I didn't know what I was being brought into. It was really awesome.
Like the Bible says, when you feed me, when you visit, and you feed those who are the least of these, you're doing it to God. So it is truly an honor to be part of something that, it could be an angel unawares, That's so powerful. So let's go to Lisa real quick, and then I want to come back and talk about the, some of the nuances.
Can I say something real quick?
Please.
That whole tour was for that one person, and for you.
Amen.
I mean, that's just the way I feel, that God had you go on that tour for that one person.
That's
and
beautiful.
I think you listening to God, brought that man a whole different life. I don't know. I don't know him. I don't know what happened, but I just feel that's what happened.
Thank you.
Good listening.
Thank you.
I love it. I'm ready to cry. Okay, Lisa.
All right. So I think this will tie everything together. This is the genesis of how the song came about. Back in March, I had a flat tire. I went across the street to a local Kroger's to put air in my tire. And it was a beautiful day, sun shining. And when I got to the air pump, I noticed, you know how some air pumps have, bushes around it, to kind of obscure it from the street. Well, when I looked down, there was this guy there all nuzzled in the bushes.
Wow.
And I knew he was a homeless guy. And so I just stood there like, okay, do I wake this guy up? Do I say something? Because I didn't want to startle him. So I said, excuse me, are you okay? And the guy looked up and he says, who is that? Who is that? And the sun was shining. And I had told Jerry, I said, I think he thought I was an angel. Mm-hmm. Because it was the funniest thing. When he looked up, he was trying to figure out, who is this person talking to me?
Wow.
So when he finally opened up his eyes, he looked down. Now I'm going to show you guys something. Hold on.
Okay.
When he looked down, I had these on.
Those are cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had my fuzzy slippers. And everybody in Fort Wayne, even when I gig, I wear these. Everybody knows.
Okay.
Lisa and her slippers. So he looked down and he pointed at my shoes and busted a gut. He thought that was the funniest thing. He made fun of my shoes. Oh, those are funny looking shoes. Ha, 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 ha. So he asked me, did I need any help? And I said, no. He was like, wait a minute, let me get up. I'll help you put air in your tire. And he was so inebriated. I said, no, don't worry about it. So I got the air in my tire and I left. Well, the following week, I was going to the bank, and what I realized that there's wooded areas behind this bank and some other businesses like Taco Bell, and he had come from behind there. So I stopped him. I said, hey, you remember me? And he looked, and I said, the girl with the funny shoes. And he said, yeah, I remember you. Yeah, I remember you. And he says, what's your name? I said, Lisa. I said, what's your name? He said, JT. I said, well, hey, JT. And then he says, you got any money?
Oh.
I said, what do you need money for? Well, I want to go to Taco Bell. I need some money. So he got a little smart mouth. I said, okay, I got you. I said, let me park. So we went into Taco Bell. He came in, and I asked him what he wanted. He wanted 3 Taco Supremes and a large Pepsi. I said, I got you.
That sounds good.
So we ended up, yeah, I know, right? So we ended up going outside, sitting outside. And he said, are you a believer? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, I know, I can look at you until you believe in God. And I said, yes, sir, I do. And so he pulls out his harmonica. And we had church. He's playing his harmonica, and I'm singing Amazing Grace.
Wow.
And so we're eating and talking, and then his other homeless friend came up, and I bought her dinner or bought her lunch. And then I said, okay, JT, I got to go. I got to go pick up my son at school. So the following week, which would have been the first week of April, I went to the laundromat because I had all these comforters I needed to get washed before I went back to Ohio. So this is the day before I actually recorded this song.
Okay. Wow.
So when I went to the 24-hour laundromat, there he was on a bench, asleep. And I said, Chris, my son's name is Chris. I go, Chris, that's the guy I told you about. That's JT. And I went over to him. I said, hey, JT. And he looked up and you remember me? He goes, yep, I remember you. So long story short, I asked him, did he want anything? And I said, I know what you want. You want 3 Supreme tacos and a large Pepsi. And he laughed. Yep, you remember. I said, yep, I remember. So before when we got back, he asked my son, do you dance? And my son said, no. Pulled out his harmonica. He says, you're going to dance today. So he started playing his harmonica and telling my son to, stomp your feet, dance. And so I pulled out my camera and I recorded it.
Aww.
So when I got back from the Taco Bell, he was outside eating because the owner was trying to kick him out. I said, no, don't do that. I said, he's a good guy. I know JT. So he hugged me and cried and told me that he had been in prison and nobody cares. He had just lost his brother. He was also homeless. And so he knew a homeless woman that was going to my church, and they had wondered about her. And she was in a hotel. Somebody had put her in a hotel, and she went to go. There was a restaurant that give out free food in the morning. So she went to go get food, and she got hit. And she was a pedestrian that got killed. So I had asked him, did he know her? He goes, yeah, what happened to her? And I told him. And I think that's how I gained the trust with him. So I go home. I see Jerry, because I was home Tuesday. I think we recorded the song Wednesday. So Tuesday, Jerry and I were in the studio. We recorded this song. I told Jerry, I showed him the video. I got home that night. Jerry sends me a message. He's like, hey, sis, that was a really great inspirational story you told me about JT. I think we need to take this in take the song in another direction. I said, okay. So Wednesday, I get to the studio and Jerry's pacing. What are we going to write? What are we going to write?
What you're leaving out is when we recorded first, those were not the original lyrics, because
no, it was.
Yeah, the song was going to be about a breakup, basically.
Okay.
And the woman telling the man off. And I wanted it to be punchy and poppy.
I kind of want to hear that too. No, okay.
You know, I think we have the original track somewhere. But it was because when we were on break from that first session that she shows me the footage of JT. And I thought, you know what, this could kind of be a broader situation.
Yes.
And that's the conversation, is that she didn't have to come back in and record like over again.
Yeah.
We had to start from scratch. The music was done, but we had to start.
It was almost like you guys were set up for this.
Yeah.
Like there was a setup. It was like an eternal setup.
Yeah. It was.
Yes. For 3 weeks, I had seen this guy, really 2 weeks, but I had seen him 3 times.
Wow.
And so the gentleman whose wife got killed was attending our church. And I said to him, I said, do you know a guy named JT? Yeah, that's my brother. I know him. Yes. And I showed him the video. And he says, well, the next time you see him, you tell him I said hello. I said, I will do that. So that evening, so the next day, I come into the studio with Jerry. And, we're brainstorming, and we just started writing. And so 4 hours later, we had written the song, recorded the song.
Wow.
And we were exhausted. So I know when Jerry eventually sent me, my parents knew about the homeless guy and the song we came up with. And my father recently passed in June, so he was aware of all this stuff I was doing musically. Mm-hmm. So Jerry, that was in April, first week of April. Now we're here. And so Jerry's vision of what God wanted us to do with the song was just perfect.
Yeah.
Everything God does is in perfection.
So does JT know that he inspired this?
I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. I haven't seen JT.
You're kidding.
That's
what?
Amazing, isn't it?
I've been looking for JT. I've heard the guy that I'm friends with that has his own ministry, he knows all the homeless people. He could tell you stories that'll make you cry about a lawyer's father who was out and he didn't know he got the son together with this. Wow. It's just, I won't say insane, but it's amazing, the things that are going on in Fort Wayne. So I told my friend Tom, I said, Tom, I can't find JT. Can you put the word out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put the word out. And he told me that where JT may be.
Yeah.
And he's not far from me, but I have not seen him walking.
Okay.
I think I saw him walking.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen him summer. I haven't seen him all fall. Now I see the girl that dated his brother. I've seen her.
Yeah.
And she hasn't seen him either.
What? That is
Could be
crazy.
an
I'm like,
angel.
Wow.
Could
Wow.
be an angel.
Could have been right.
Could have been an angel.
Yeah.
For
That
sure.
that would have had to been a long time angel though to have a brother.
Yeah,
and
well,
have,
that's
like,
true.
all
That's
these-
true.
you know
That's
what I'm
true.
saying?
That's true.
No,
But
he
you
would have
never
been in
know, but-
disguise a long time.
Right.
Maybe that's why he
And he
wasn't
was
sure who
such-
you were at first.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's like been human too long. Okay.
just a sweet person and everything. And so there's some lyrics where I talk about when I was incarcerated.
Yeah.
That came from our conversation.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, being in prison
And that's
that's
go
ahead,
that's
Jerry.
I was going to say that's Matthew 25 though as well. I mean, that's the scripture that we pull
Yeah.
from,
Yeah.
when I was
Right.
hungry, when I was thirsty, you came, I was incarcerated, I was,
Right.
you came and ministered to me. I must say too that, with respect to these two incredible talents, I have to give credit to Jalea Ewing, who I think her voice complements Lisa so
Absolutely.
much.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and so she came in and did
Absolutely.
background vocals.
And is she local?
She's local,
She's
yeah.
local too,
She's
okay.
in Hubbard, as a matter of fact.
Okay, okay.
And then there's Joe Hudek, who did the fantastic guitar solo at the end.
Wow. So truly a collaboration
Absolutely.
of people. That's
And
amazing.
Moises Diaz, who's he played the acoustic guitar in the middle. So I just wanted to give them
Okay.
their shout out.
So this is
as
a perfect
well.
this is a perfect intro into the song. Let's go ahead and play the song for them.
Oh, cool.
And we'll be right back, guys, right after this. Enjoy.
Don't brought me out. Life at a time.
Yes, I believe we can get this done. One life's at a time. There is no doubt we can stand as one. One life at a time. Together we can feed the hungry. Together we can house the homeless.
to the plate, everybody wanna take. I've been filling up the cup, now I got a lot to say. Lord God, I pray, giving thanks for the day. Will you multiply as I sing your praise? When I'm spending time with the least of these, I wanna live as Christ every day I breathe. When I'm on that stage, are you behind the scenes? When I'm in that fight, will you walk with me? I might need some help, I might need a team. Like the body of Christ, how it's meant to be. I think we got this now, together we can see through thick and thin, facing enemies. And the victory God gave to thee. So step with me and walk faithfully. What the people need is all that we believe in the risen King who can intercede. Yeah. One life at a time. Yeah. We got this together. One life. Yeah.
Okay, we are back. I hope you guys enjoyed that song. It's so catchy, rhythmically, and lyrically powerful, which is really cool. And I love that it's originating from here locally with collaboration, obviously, from Indiana. But this really could affect the nation. So if there is somebody who's listening from another, I mean, we have listeners from all over the nation, people who have some sort of connection to Youngstown. And it's really cool. So if somebody wanted to collaborate with you, no matter where they are, they can reach out to you.
Absolutely.
And kind of do that collaboration.
Absolutely.
Same thing from their website. Then they get that. I love it. That's beautiful. Okay, so let's go into some of the stories about like how heartwarming that was. Do you have any that you guys particularly remember encountering situations that may have been heartwarming or frustrating, or a moment where you really had to say, okay, even when I feel used, even when I feel like this is pointless? Or have you never gotten to that point because maybe you see the good with the bad? I know myself. I'm like, okay, there is a limit. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, sometimes you wonder when the limit is, and sometimes you think, did I miss that edge of, no, I'm not, that's why I'm so frustrated. But that's when the Lord is growing you. There were two people I want to tell you about. A few years ago, during the winter, and I don't remember if it was during COVID or not, but there were a lot of vortexes that just kept coming down from Canada.
Oh, yeah. Oof.
And we were serving in Warren at their family mission.
Okay.
And it was starting to snow, and it was going to snow for days, and forecast was for that, and it did. But there was a guy, and he had a bicycle, and he had this tattered, what do you call those one-piece snowsuit things on. It had a broken zipper. It was torn. It was a mess. And he had a bicycle, and he had just stopped at the mission and picked up his lunch to take with him. And he was walking, but he was looking over at our bus like, what are they doing? You know?
Right.
And I said,
I'm getting cold just hearing about this.
I said to him, hey, you know what? I think you need a new coat. And he goes, well, you have something like this. We happen to have one that fit him. And I said, well, I'll have to look. But while I'm looking, let me get a little bit of information from you. So we don't ask a lot, but, we want to get a first name. And I don't ask for last names because my philosophy on that is people are out there and don't necessarily want to be known where they're at. But also it becomes a privacy thing that if someone said, did you serve John Doe? And I'm like, I honestly don't know. Because I don't ask for a last name.
Okay.
And there's been times where we've been to, just real quick, where everybody's name is John. And I don't care. But I just want to call them. I want them to, first of all, feel like they're a person and not a number.
Yeah.
But back to this guy, we gave him that. We also give out survival coats, which are made in Detroit, Michigan, by women who were homeless. They're taken off the street, and it's through a program called the Empowerment Plan.
Okay.
If you want to look that up, it's an amazing thing.
Wow.
They make these coats for homeless people that turn into sleeping bags, and then they can take their bed with them whenever they're traveling. Yeah.
It's a coat and a sleeping bag?
Yes. Wow. They're like $150 a piece. So we don't purchase them because of our budget.
Yeah.
But we are always gifted them from other organizations. Like people can't just go in and buy those. They have to be gifted.
Was it a group of former homeless people that got together and did it, or was it an organization that said, "Hey, we're going to also let you guys get"? I mean, like, how is?
So the woman started that as a college program, or she had to do how would you help the people in
okay.
Detroit? And she was a seamstress, so she designed the coat. She said, I mean, it's a very nice coat. It's very heavy.
my.
It's long, and it fits like one size fits most.
Okay.
I can't say fits all, but but it's an amazing organization.
Wow.
They've gone from just serving people locally in Detroit to worldwide now.
Okay.
People
That's
just can't buy
beautiful.
them for themselves, though. They have to purchase them and give them to an organization that works with homeless.
Okay. So no campers and stuff that
No.
was just, oh,
No.
wow. Wow. Okay.
So, but we gave that guy one of those coats as well because we knew it was going to be cold. And I said, can you get into the men's mission? And he said, yeah, I don't like to follow the rules. I like to drink a little bit, and you can't drink if you're in there. And, he goes, I don't do drugs, but I like to drink. And I said, well, that's your choice.
Yeah.
And I said, but you do know it's going to get really, really cold. And I said, do you have a tent? He said, well, I sleep underneath the bridge over there by the park. And I said, it's going to be too cold for you to do that. So is there a place that you can put up a tent? Because we'll give a tent out if someone doesn't have any shelter.
Okay.
So minimal, at best.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I can take it into this abandoned building. And I said, you do what you want, but be careful. I'll give you the tent. I'll give you a sleeping bag. I'm going to give you this survival coat, and I'm going to give you this one-piece thing.
Wow.
And the man wasn't going to be cold.
Right, right.
Plus, we gave him a Mylar blanket to keep the heat in,
that's-
mats to keep the ground
yeah.
off, everything. There, he could survive with what we gave him.
Did you ever run into him again?
I did.
Oh.
But when he was leaving from us, he was carrying everything on his bicycle, and he couldn't ride it because we had so much stuff. There was another gentleman coming at us, and he stopped him, and he said, go over and get a coat, because this guy was new to the street. He had on, like, work shoes that were leather. They weren't warm. He had a leather coat on. You knew he wasn't warm.
So what?
And he was homeless. He had just hit the streets. And
What was his story? Do you?
so I don't ask if they want to tell me that,
Okay.
and they do. He just said that him and his wife had split up. So aside from that, I don't know what his story was.
Interesting.
But I said, well, where are you staying? Can you get into the men's mission? He said, I can't get in the mission. So I didn't ask his reasonings,
Right.
but he knew he couldn't get in.
Wow.
And so
Wow,
I said, well, you need a new coat. He goes, give it to somebody that needs it. And I'm like, I'm looking at him, and I said,
You're like, you're
wait a
gonna
minute,
need it.
are you living on the street? And he said, yeah. I said, yeah. And the guy we just given everything to said, get over here. Come on. They got all kinds of stuff. They're, he goes, if you have enough, we'll take care of it.
And so that's local. That was like
That was in Warren.
That was in Warren. Okay,
Yeah.
that's right. Wow.
But there was about the man on the bicycle.
Yeah.
The next year we go back.
Okay.
And we see him, and he's got his bicycle, and he's walking over towards us. And he goes, do you remember me? I remembered the bicycle.
Okay.
Because the guy looked
Different.
Okay. And I said, yeah, I do remember you. And he said, I was going to kill myself the day that you met me.
Wow.
And because of your kindness and what you gave to me, and because of your praying with me and all of what you did, I've changed my life. I've been clean and sober for a year. And now I'm giving back.
What?
I mean to tell you.
Oh my!
We were all crying, of course.
Oh, for sure.
But it was just, you don't see that every time.
No,
And to
but
know
those
that-
times keep you because you never know.
Right.
And that, wow.
We were in Youngstown a couple years ago, and we were driving. It was doing our the nights that we come here. We do that once a year. But we canvassed Youngstown, and we had already left here, and we had very minimal stuff left after we leave here. And we went past the bus station, and I'm looking in the bus station, and there's a guy who is putting his stuff out in those clear gondolas. That you sit in and you wait for the bus.
Oh, yes.
That are open all around. And he was laying out his stuff. So I said, stop. And we went over and we talked to him. And he said, I'm just getting off work. My wife and I divorced. I have to pay her alimony. I'm working, but I can't afford my alimony and a place to stay. and it was very cold, and he was a veteran, so it was very hard hearing all of that.
Yeah.
And I said, everything you own is right here, and he said yes, and they allowed him to stay there. You know, he got permission from the bus line, and we with the people that we had from the PATH program, they were trying to get him a room.
Yeah.
When we left him, he didn't have a room yet.
Okay.
But it was supposed to be very cold. And sad thing, I mean, he did get a room, but not until the next day. But he was a working person.
That was,
you know,
man,
just in a bad situation. And people don't always know what situations are coming up. And
Right.
and we don't ask people. They just, if they want to tell us, they do.
Right.
But
Wow.
you know, but we found out that he was able to get into a hotel, and then I called like the veterans emergency line, and the guy, and I said, I have a homeless veteran here.
Yeah.
Because we're in Texas.
Oh, man.
Okay.
So what, right.
And like locally, everybody was closed because it was 9 o'clock at night.
So is that something that you guys find that, you know, I was talking to my friend who used to live on the streets, and God's just done amazing things in his life. But do you see a lot of addiction intertwined with homelessness? And is it addiction that leads to homelessness, or homelessness that leads to addiction? And is that a greater amount of times, or a lesser amount? Like, is that a stereotype, or is that factual? So I guess anybody who wants to weigh in on this. Yes.
May I answer that question?
Yes.
Okay. By trade, I am a drug and alcohol therapist.
Okay.
I have my master's in counseling psych. And when I worked at, we have a place called Park Center. A lot of times, when you're looking at addictions, they also have mental health issues as well. So it's like a cycle. One may start from another. But most of the homeless people that I've encountered, not everyone has a substance abuse issue. It goes back to, I'm going to call you Miss Blue Coat, Blue Jacket, Blue Coat. It goes back to kind of what you said. A lot of people get in situations that lead them to a life outside of the home.
Right.
And you can spot them. They'll, like you said, they'll have everything on their book bag, on their person. Years ago, you could tell because they would steal a cart from the grocery store, and you just know that's their whole life. And for the most part, yes and no. It's all contingent upon what their circumstances are. And there are people that would rather be out there than to be in a home. And not that they don't want responsibilities or anything. It's just there's a sense of control of their life. I'm doing better like this. I know I can go to a rescue mission. I know I can go, like at my church, every Thursday now we have dinner church. So anyone and everyone's invited, and then that's their congregation. And they take meals home and everything. And if they want to come to church on Sunday, but we have church with them on Thursday nights. And then we have food pantries. People can come to our church, and we give away thousands and thousands of pounds of food. And we serve 300 or 400 families every Thursday.
Do you encounter like a lot of runaways? Do you encounter like a
lot
lot
of what?
runaways, like young people that have run away from home?
Ooh. I not too long ago, and man, this really hurt. About a month ago, our pastor had preached on stewardship and helping homeless. We had just talked to our church about this Helping Hands ministry that we have. Well, after church was over, we were sitting in our fellowship hall, and this lady just shows up. It was a Hispanic woman, probably in her mid to late 30s. No shoes. She had on, a pair of pants and a shirt. She had $10 in her pocket. And you could just see she wanted help. So we rallied around her. What do you need? She was so exhausted, she laid on her couch. Well, it turned out she didn't know where she was.
What?
She was dropped off. And you can't tell me that woman wasn't trafficked.
Right.
Because somebody dropped her off and told her, the rescue mission that way. So she's just walking, and then she just walks into our church. So my friend and I, we went upstairs. We got clothes for her. Our outreach minister, she was on the phone with the YMCA women's shelter. We were able to get her a room. We got her clean clothes. I had a bunch of shoes in my truck she couldn't fit, but she had on some comfortable clothes. She didn't even have underwear on. That was like, can I please have some underwear? So we found some men's underwear, and we were like, this is what we got.
Right.
And so we went downstairs, got her food, brought stuff up, and she just laid on that couch. She was exhausted. And like I said, you cannot tell me that woman wasn't trafficked.
Right.
Then she had mentioned, once she kind of came to, she was from Elkhart, Indiana, and what they're doing, I don't know if they're doing this, Jerry, or anybody else in Youngstown, where other cities don't have resources. They give them bus tickets, and they put them on buses, and they send them to major cities.
What?
That's what they've been doing.
Actually,
We have a ton of people from Elkhart, Indiana, that's never been in Fort Wayne.
Wow.
That are homeless walking around. Yes.
Wow.
So that's where this woman was from. And I believe she was trafficked.
Yeah,
She
it
had
sounds
no
like
shoes on.
Sounds like it. Man.
So we serve Alliance as well.
Okay.
And I know for a fact that Canton has brought people to Alliance and dropped them off. And when I say Canton, I mean the Canton Police Department has brought people to Alliance.
Wow.
And dropped them off.
Just on the street?
Oh, yes. Yeah. They dropped them off at the mission, at the it's called Clothes in Righteousness.
Okay.
They dropped them off there.
Wow.
Even though no one was there, they're like, they'll be back.
Oh,
and they
man.
just leave them.
Right.
And so they then our contacts there get phone calls, and there's somebody there.
It would make more sense for them to reach out and start a branch in Canton, right?
Well, even in Canton, like this past week,
Yeah.
the city has proclaimed homelessness illegal. So they went in and they took bulldozers at night while people were in their camps, took the dozers in and started moving them out.
Okay.
Some people were injured. Some people were arrested and thrown into jail because now what they're doing is illegal. Some were put in mental hospitals because they have mental issues, but others were just running for their lives because they want to arrest them and put them in jail because they're homeless. This was a huge camp that had been destroyed. People think that this doesn't happen, but Youngstown went down and they cleaned out. I mean, they told the people they were coming.
Yeah.
But the ones in Canton did not. But they went down with the bulldozers and just cleaned that out because they wanted to build that amphitheater and the walkway. They're going
In
to
Canton?
When they built it.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be doing that in Warren.
Okay.
And people don't know about that yet, but with all of this new changes in Warren and they're changing the streets and we went to a meeting and the mayor's talking about how they're going to make this amphitheater and they're going to get everybody out of there. And these are the people we
Yeah, they're
serve.
gentrifying
So-
cities.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Downtown Youngstown, when I was a kid, that's what it was like. And it was dangerous. It was, nobody wanted to come to downtown Youngstown. It was very much lock the doors. We came down here when we needed to.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not like that. Except for like is some crime because people come into the bus. People from bigger cities come to our bus station, hang out, sell drugs, and then go back to the big cities. So we have to there has to be some sort of way of handling it rather than just letting people set up where they want to set up. You don't know who's coming. The kids aren't safe. The kids who are taking the bus to school are now being trafficked to because people are just hanging out at the bus stop all day because, it's crazy. So I want to talk about this. And Lynn, I want you to weigh in because you're boots on the ground here in the city, every day. Is it our responsibility to try to talk homeless people into not being homeless? Is it our responsibility to just say, hey, you are homeless, so we're going to help make it easier, like the 3 square meals a day? Is that enabling more than basically where's the line drawn, or does it not matter? Like, where's helping and saying, hey, I see a need and I am the hands and feet of Jesus to meet that need. And then here's this, just like almost like kids in school have to pay for their school lunch, but grown adults get it for free. You know what I mean? These people can work and they have a little bit more freedom, and these kids don't have a choice. They have to be in school and then they have to pay for their school lunch. And I'm not saying somebody's got to pay for it. So it's not like food comes suddenly and magically appears for free. So I'm covering a lot of grounds because when you talk to people, it's easy to be like, oh, we just got to help and we got to help and we got to help and we should. But there's a lot of arguments out there, and when you talk to people, you hear this little bit of like, this is, and I have a friend that goes to I actually know a couple people that go to the kitchens daily, and it's amazing because they know that no matter what, they're not going to starve, right? But at the same time, the same people are going, the same people know, they schedule their life around it, and it becomes, are we, if they had the opportunity to just work and get paid at the end of the day without having to fill out a resume, without having to do all the things that are complicated, just say, hey, here's a shovel, dig, here's a broom, clean, and then they got to make their own money at the end of the day, would that be a better option to equip them? And then instead of just say, hey, we're going to make it as easy for you as possible, not that being homeless is easy. So I'm playing all kinds of advocates around here just because, you know what I'm saying? So how would you answer this? We'll start with Lynn and then anybody else who wants to weigh in.
So at the Rescue Mission of the Mahoning Valley, we are about a hand up, not a handout.
Okay.
Many, many years ago, a lot of our leadership team read a book called Toxic Charity. And the premise of that was that you should never give somebody something that they can acquire for themselves.
Exactly.
Wow.
And so we believe here at the Rescue Mission that people were created on purpose, for a purpose by the Lord, and that we need to maybe help them during this dip in their life where they're maybe struggling.
Yeah.
And so with the Rescue Mission, we have a 3-prong approach to our mission statement. Oh, sorry about that. We are here to promote, first of all, the gospel of Jesus Christ. Yeah. We're here to promote accountability, which is a little bit different than a lot of shelters where there's like 3 hots and a cot and you're in and you're out.
Yeah.
And then we're also here to provide emergency food and shelter.
Okay.
So the accountability piece is different here at the mission because we realize if you're going to receive the help that the community is able and blessing you with here, that you're not going to just lay around and do nothing. You were created for a purpose. And if you're capable and able to work, the Rescue Mission of the Mahoning Valley is going to hold you accountable, and we're going to help you get what you need in order to do that. So if the barrier is you don't have your state ID, or you don't have a birth certificate, or you need help acquiring job skills, we will plug you in. There are so many great resources here that we can collaborate with. If you have legal issues, if you need help, job hunting, looking for an apartment, we realize that there's a lot of times that people can't just magically overnight fix everything.
Right, right.
But when they're willing to engage in growing out of homelessness and participate
Yeah.
in their own growth, wonderful things happen. And I've seen over the years just so many people that are so thankful.
Wow.
My husband and I were at Home Depot 2 weeks ago, and somebody walked up and had recognized us because we used to do a Sunday morning service for 15 years.
Wow.
And he remembered, my husband coming and preaching every week, and he remembered and he thanked us for what the mission did for him. And
Wow.
really, he needs to be thanking the Lord and thanking
Yeah.
this valley who supports the mission.
Yes.
But that's what's different about the mission here is nobody's just laying around in a bed all day, bed rotting.
Right.
You are encouraged to look for work. We were going to help you do that. And we do understand that there's a lot of trauma that comes with
Yes.
somebody who appears at the rescue mission. And they have that first week to just kind of decompress. We're not going to be all
that's
over
good.
them saying,
Yeah.
you have to get a job right now. We help them, acclimate to the fact that, their life is upside down, and, the help that we can provide, we slowly let them know what
Yeah.
those things are, and meet the physical needs. Because if somebody's hungry and not sure where they're going to sleep tonight, helping them through getting an ID or finding
Right.
employment, that's
Having a
like-
resume, right?
They
Building,
don't care.
yeah.
They don't
Right.
care.
Right.
So you have to get them to that point where they can do that. But we've just had so many tremendous stories of success where people have transitioned from homelessness, and our goal is that we won't see them again.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, homelessness is a generational problem, and I mean, I've been here just short of 20 years, and even in that amount of time, I've seen, parents come back with, kids come back as adults that were here with their parents. We've already seen that happen. It's not uncommon to have 3 generations sharing a room here: grandma, mom, and
What?
a child. There's just a lot of crazy stuff that happens out there.
Yeah.
But the key here at the mission is that we treat each person as an individual.
Yeah.
And we realize, okay, your situation's very different than the person 2 rooms down from you. And so
Right.
let's talk about what do we need to do. Let's pray to the Lord for the help, and then let's take the resources that the mission's been blessed with.
Yeah.
And I mean blessed with, and put those to good work to help improve your situation and make a real change.
I love that so much. That is so well said. And it makes me so grateful that we do have such a great mission. You guys talked about some of the cities not having resources and stuff. And to know that we have that in Youngstown is without the mission, the rescue mission, I can't even imagine. I mean, I've gotten to hear some of the stories, the success stories. Now, have you guys is anybody familiar with the show Unshackled?
Oh, I love that.
Oh, I love that show. What? Did you ever hear it?
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so it used to be on the radio, especially at night, and they would dramatize true stories from the Pacific Garden Mission in Chicago. So they would literally take the testimonies and then have them after, God had changed their life. They would basically share their testimony, what happened to them when they were kids, and then they would dramatize it for an hour on the radio. And as a kid, I would be fascinated listening to this. I mean, it was so fascinating. And slowly over the years, it's, taken off the radio, but you could still listen online. So I encourage you, anybody watching, if you want, it is so incredible to just Google Unshackled, and it'll change it. I wish that they would put it. I always say if I got real wealthy, like super wealthy, I would pay to put it back on the radio, because people need to hear messages of hope, because in that moment, it looks hopeless. And that's why so many people, and you were talking about the community, so that what separates people from ending up on the street in a tough time or getting through without ending up on the street is oftentimes community. And that's something that we could all be. That's something that we can all but you said, what you said, if your community is pulling you down because it's normal, it's, that type of thing. I know that there's been, some a good friend of mine, she was in an abusive situation. She had a run and she ended up in a homeless shelter with her 2 kids. And now she's doing very well. She's a therapist, has a great practice. But it was a couple who met her. They would come to the mission or the homeless shelter, and they would look for opportunities to help different families, especially the ones that were trying to work. And they really, and not just with her, but they would really kind of say, okay, what do you need? And through the years of her going to school, through the years of her raising the kids, she would make sure that they had gift cards for Christmas, this doctor and his wife. She would come and just so many things because they stuck with her throughout the years. And so that was the best thing. Instead of just the 3 square meals a day, which was powerful and important during that time, but there was somebody to say, okay, what do you need to move forward? And I think that is so powerful about it's the front lines with the coat, keeping them off the street, keeping them warm, buying them Taco Bell. That's so funny, right? But also giving them the hand up to help them out, because most people didn't ever, like when they were kids, they didn't want to just say, oh, I mean, occasionally you meet people like that, but generally they had a dream, they had a vision, they had something. But I will never forget, I was so convicted. I was in downtown Youngstown, and, I love going to church. I love the Lord, right? So I'm talking inside to another girl from the church, and we're catching up, right? Well, my sister, who didn't go to church and who didn't she loved God, but she didn't go to church, goes out with her martini onto the patio and starts smoking. And so she's like, come out to the patio, whatever. So we go out to the patio. No sooner did we sit down, but a lady comes along giving a story about, having to get to Cleveland to visit her kid at the Cleveland Clinic, which is a common story around here. Mm-hmm. So whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it's repeated. It's often, it tugs on the heartstrings. So anyway, I was like, no, sorry. I'm going back to like my thing. My sister sits there and she was like, well, I don't have any money, but do you want a cigarette? Right? And I was just like, and so she's like, oh, yeah. So then she comes in, she sits down at the table, and I'm like, oh, Linda, right? Like in my head, I was just like, like this is just interrupting, right? And she said, and so she says, well, can I pray with you? Now, this is my sister who doesn't go to church, she was like, hey, can I pray with you about anything? And the lady was like, oh, yes. And then she was like, oh man, I love the Lord. So we all pray. Okay. Now here's the thing. So I'm just being vulnerable about like my heart. I was like, okay, all right. Like we'll pray. Right. I wasn't angry. I was just like doing it because my sister, kind of set it up. This lady, so my sister prayed, and then this lady literally came out the gate with the most powerful prayer that I couldn't have expected it to be like that. And I was like, man, right? She opens her eyes. She goes, you know what? I used to be in a church. She was like, I was a leader. I was this. She starts telling her story. I used to pray for people at the front. I used to this. She was like, and I start dating this guy. And then they got on, like he was on drugs. Like he fell back into drugs, and she got into drugs. Now she's living on the street. And I was so convicted because that was God's child who he loved. And my sister connected with her by offering her cigarettes. So anyway, there's just it's such a multifaceted, totally complex situation as individual as the people, that's right. And I just love that you guys have taken so much boots on the ground approach to really helping, and in a creative way. And then your story about having like kind of been there yourself, and that's the kind of the point of need. Just, oh my goodness. So we're rounding up. And I just feel like there's so many more. I love hearing the stories. That's just what gets my heart. And I have to tell one more. I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking now, but when I lived in New York City, I got on the subway one day, and during parts of the day, you could not find a seat on subway. So I was shocked when I get on the subway and this entire side of the subway was empty. So I'm like, okay, I get on and everybody's packed on that side. I get on and I sit down, and then I realized, as soon as I sat down, I realized there was a homeless man and he stank so bad. And I was like, oh, like once it hit me, I was like, oh, but I refused to get up and move. So you have this whole entire side of the subway, like looking over, because I'm the only one sitting next to this guy, right? And so he sees me with my backpack, and so, I say hi to him. He sees me with my backpack. He's like, oh, are you in school? Picks up conversation. Here he's from Louisiana, New Orleans, and he came up to New York. And I asked him, why would you come up to New York City? It's cold. And And he said, well, in the South, people will give you food before they'll buy you alcohol. He said, in the North, in New York, they'll buy you a drink before they'll give you food. And he said, and I like to drink. That was his thing. So we were talking, we were whatever. And then he invited me to come to Washington Square Park and hang out with him. Which I didn't do. But the fact is, that was his invitation into his home. That was like saying, hey, come hang out at my home, and New York City is very complex with the homelessness. Like it can be a problem. And there was other times that, but I will never forget. I was so glad that I didn't smell him before I sat down, because I would have been just like everybody else who obviously didn't want to be around, something. So anyway, that was my little story. But I have one more question for each one of you guys before we sign off here. And that is, if you guys represent, and then I'm going to give you each a chance to tell how people could reach out to you and connect with you. But other than your chosen or the things that you do, what are some other resources? What's another resource that you're like, man, I got to shout this place out, this organization, this group of people doing something good. Let's shout out other people who might either be a resource to people who are watching and find themselves in need, or that are just doing something good and you just want to say, hey, like, let's give them a virtual pat on the back. So we'll start with you, Jerry. You've been kind of quiet too, man.
Am I? I'm listening. I'm absorbing it. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for this day. I'm thankful that, what started out as a little song will be able to touch so many lives. And I'm thankful for not only planting a seed, but being a hand up. And may this song reverberate not only through the Mahoning Valley, but anyone who's listening.
Yes.
And in any city, I know Lisa's working on Fort Wayne and touching the charities and the missions and the community kitchens there for this song to be a part of that story as well. So I'm just thankful for that. With respect to a shout out, Cal, I have to give a shout out to Voices for Life, who is a new pro-life nonprofit that my wife and I have been blessed to begin. And Cal sits on our board, and we're watching God do amazing things even in the last couple of days. So yeah, we want to not only meet the immediate need of an unplanned pregnancy, but to build up a fatherhood initiative and to really walk alongside families who just think it's a political football. Abortion is not a political football. It's not. It's spiritual, it's personal, and it's biblical. And that's where Voices for Life comes in. So
that's powerful.
I have to give a shout out.
And I'm glad you mentioned the fatherhood initiative. That's something. How could people connect? Because I know that is incorporated a lot in homelessness as well. Yeah. When broken families are broken and parents disappear and they're struggling, and that's a whole separate thing. But how can people connect with you in that, or Voices for Life?
So Voices, the number 4, life.net. Voices, the number 4, life.net.
And so if somebody's thinking about it because they're really scared or whatever, they could reach out to you and kind of get that support and kind of feel the arm around them.
Absolutely. Well, from the fatherhood side, I became a father at 17. So, I know what it is to be a teen father. I know that track of trying to be responsible and accountable, but, a lot of things falling through the crack. And then at 24, I became a father of an aborted child. So, I know both sides of that coin. So that's where we're picking up and really beginning to put some flesh and blood on that skeleton. So it's on the drawing board now, but will be. And so we also from that have to say this, that we have Stories for Life, and young ladies are coming up. My wife is actually a part of that podcast where young ladies are telling their stories of how they're healing post-abortion. And so that's not something that's out there somewhere or made for TV movie. That's from right here in the Valley.
Right here. And, wow.
And so grateful to be a part of helping out however we can. Met Patty as a result of us being out at the Canfield Fair with Voices for Life.
Oh, and so that's how you guys met. Look at that. I love, connections all over the place. That's amazing. Yeah.
Of course, the Mahoning, Mahoning Valley Rescue Mission, which has really been a part of our story musically as well. So very grateful.
That's great.
Grateful.
All right. So who wants to go next?
I give a shout out to 211. Because that's a resource in the area that a lot of people end up at the mission because they've called 211. And
Okay.
basically, it's the place where if you don't know how to help somebody,
Yeah.
tell them to call 211 and they'll answer and explain what the resources are out there. It's kind of the hub that just keeps everything together. So,
Okay. And is that a government thing?
it's the homeless
211?
network. I'm not exactly sure.
What is it?
It's through the homeless network.
Oh, really?
There's
Okay.
help
211.
hotline,
So they just
but
call
it's
211.
211.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah, but people will call and say, "Hey, I need help with rent or something," and something the rescue mission doesn't do. But we'll
Yeah.
tell them call 211 and see if there's programs. and things
Okay.
like that. So,
That's wonderful to have a directory like that.
yeah.
You should
Wow.
also highlight the accomplishments of the rescue mission.
So we served 124,000 meals last year,
124,000.
and served
Wow.
people with a little over 58,000 overnights. So we have 186 beds here, and so they were turned over. They were full pretty much every night, and it turned out to be about 58,000 overnight. So yeah, really really thankful for being
Wow.
able to provide that to the community. And so,
Incredible.
yeah,
Incredible.
people can look us up on the mission. The other thing is we are an open book. We love giving tours of this new facility that we
Yeah.
were blessed with in 2021.
Yeah.
It's 50,000 square feet. It was paid
Wow.
for the day we moved in.
Wow.
All through the generosity of the
Man,
community.
love that.
And we take great care of it because we realize it doesn't belong to us. It's
Yeah.
the Lord's house.
Mhm.
And we love showing people what happens here. And that's a great
That's
way to
amazing.
find out if there's an opportunity for someone to volunteer is just
Okay.
visit.
Oh, yeah.
through a
So you,
tour.
okay.
Yep, through a
Volunteers.
tour, sometimes something clicks and goes, oh, I could help out.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, please
And
come-
they could
come
reach
and
out
tour.
to you guys through
Yeah.
what, Facebook or
We're-
just a
we're on
website?
Facebook, we have rescuemissionmv.org.
Okay.
Is our website, or you can always look us
Okay.
up online and call the number. We have a mission ambassador that loves to give tours.
Okay,
And,
nice.
We'll even do a shuttle to the shelter if you have a group. We'll come pick you up in our 14-passenger van.
Oh,
the
and then
group
bring
here.
you.
Not even sure where we are, we'll come pick you up.
Wow. Wow.
You could also download One Life at a Time
Yeah.
from
From our website.
Oh, yes. You said another reason to go to the website.
Yeah.
RescueMissionMV.org.
You got it. Yeah.
Very
There's
nice.
a link
Okay.
there. Yeah.
That is, that's
You don't
amazing.
have to slide that
Okay.
in.
You're right.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome. All right. Well, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you guys for taking the time. Thank you for being a part of this. You guys, this has been such a great conversation. I hope that you guys have enjoyed listening. I hope that it's stimulated something in you, whether it's to volunteer or just dialogue about it, to talk about it, think about it, and be aware of the ways that it's so easy to make a difference, just starting with you. But also be aware of the people in your life who may be struggling, and you may be the difference between them ending on the street or getting through the tough time. As always, we'd like to thank our sponsors, the Varsity Club of Youngstown, the CAT, Columbiana Arts Theater in Columbiana, and the Gallagher, which is a great space to live and long-term leases in downtown Youngstown. We are coming to you today from the Rescue Mission boardroom. So thank you to the Rescue Mission for letting us come and set up and be a part of this. As always, never forget that you guys are the best part of what makes Youngstown click. You guys are important. You're loved. You're needed. You're a part. And without you, there would be a missing connection. So never forget the importance that you make in our community, in our region. We'll talk to you next time.